Hi, it's Chris Watkin back again at the Kerfuffle 2025 conference, and today I'm joined by Josh Phegan at Wembley Stadium, where we're here to talk about the self-employed estate agency model. Josh, the self-employed estate agency model has come to light in the last 3 or 4 years. The biggest estate agent by volume is EXP now, with about 1.4% of the market, which doesn't sound a lot, but they are the biggest. In the UK, we've normally been employed. What sort of percentage of estate agents in Australia are self-employed?
I would say that less than 10% are self-employed and 90% are actually employed.
I mean, interesting, because we get to see you guys in Australia and we think we're probably just seeing the cream, aren't we?
Well, the foundational idea is that literally we have different legislation, state by state and territory by territory. But every person that you employ inside of an estate agency business in Australia, you need to be able to make sure they can make a minimum amount of income. And so you can't go below the award in terms of a base wage. So therefore, even if they're commission only, you still have to prove that they can earn a certain amount. Now, in Australia, that basic might look at like £25,000. And so you need to be able to make sure that that's actually happening. So it's a misconception to think that you are in a position that you're self-employed, and if you don't make any money, you don't make any money, because you actually have to be able to generate that. What I would say without a doubt is actually very clear is that then your ability to then be able to earn above that is significantly higher, because you make the decision to actually really become an agent where you control both owner and buyer in your personal team to drive volume. And so that's where, for example, a team of 2 or 3 people might actually drive 200 plus transactions a year.
One of the biggest challenges that doesn't get talked about is there's a lot of employed estate agents who are thinking, well, the bosses who are thinking, if I don't, one of my star valuer listers might go off, and so I might actually convert them into a self-employed agent. But a lot of those bosses are finding it really difficult to change their mindset because they can't tell them how to do. What would your message be to any estate agency bosses who have got to transition from being the boss to almost like a coach?
Well, know what you sell. And an interesting conversation, a lot of people that go out on their own to do their own business are in a position they actually end up very lonely, and they don't actually have a premise, and they're working from their home. And the most important conversation is they're socially isolated. So
you're giving them almost like a structure and a home.
Yeah, you're giving them a home, a place to hang out. You spend more time with your co-workers than you probably do your partner. So and some people actually combine those to actually make it more time efficient. But the most important foundational idea is to actually make sure that you really understand what you're selling. You're selling customer base, you're selling quality of brand, you're selling facilities, you're selling training, you're selling education, you're selling the whole conversation around what it actually takes to become a great agent. Now, that doesn't mean that there can't be a conversation about potentially changing some of the splits. I believe it's somewhere 5 and 10% in some businesses. And then literally in the self-employed model, it seems to be very aggressive, and it's a big chasm to cross.
It's a 70-30 split.
Yeah, so from that point of view, high split models don't tend to work to build great brands. And the interesting kind of conversation about that is that if you're interested in a high split model, it tends to be you, and you don't really build much of a team around you. And so that actually becomes a problem, because then you actually bought yourself a job and you have to be there 24/7 because you don't have anyone else to be able to do the viewing or do the instruction on your behalf. Now, it doesn't mean that there aren't good elements of both models, and they might suit you at different stages of your life. But what I would say to you without a doubt, there's a foundational capability that I learned a lot in the car with my dad on the way to and from instructions and viewings that I would never have learned sitting up in my own bedroom at home. And that's a really important foundational idea, that it's got to be right. It's a business model. It's a choice. Whether or not you've got a 3-door little hatchback that your daughter might buy or my sister might have bought versus a big 4-wheel drive that can tow a boat and take you to the coast, they're all business models. And so literally, as opposed to saying this and that, it's just a business model. And what business model suits you for your stage of life, and also to the life events that you've been through.
Thank you for your time today, Josh.
Awesome. Lovely to see you.